I am Joe Marcucci, pastor of Outreach in Arlington. We've all been to the gas station and we've all been to the grocery store, and we know that cost of basic goods has dramatically increased. For many of us, perhaps there's not a major impact. It's inconvenient and we don't like it. But for people who are just, living paycheck to paycheck or just sort of making ends meet, when that happens, it puts incredible stress on them. And when you're a parent and you're looking at your kids and you're not able to get them the kind of food that they're used to getting, or you can't take them on the trips, or you can't put them in the camp that they are normally would go to, that's a real, it's not just a material thing. There's shame there, there's guilt, there's sorrow, there's sadness, there's sense of inferiority. With rising costs, the pressures are acute, not just on the pocketbook, but on the soul. At base level, the mission and vision of Neighbor to Neighbor is to provide food and friendship relief at Menotomy Manor. Menotomy Manor is a 179 family housing community. And we don't call it the projects. In fact, it's not even our project. It's not Highrock's project. It's our neighborhood. And the people are our neighbors, and that's why we call the ministry Neighbor to Neighbor. We have one team that goes to Panera Bread in Porter Square on a Monday evening at 10 o'clock. And this team is the most amazing team because they literally serve under the cover of darkness. They go to Panera Bread, they pick up boxes and bags of bread and pastry items, and they bring it to the Highrock kitchen. But instead of going to a landfill, they go to our kitchen, where on Tuesday morning they're wrapped by Karen Roman, one of our great volunteers. It gets all loaded into my van, and we drive to Menotomy Manor. We unload the van, and then we huddle up, and sometimes there might be a word of exhortation from Scripture or a sharing. And then we have 3/4 routes, and people go out on their routes to visit their neighbors. So when we do this work, it's really a joined community. It's not an us and them. It's just us. It's just us together in community, building real friendships where there's vulnerability, there's reciprocity, there's give and take back and forth between the team and the neighbors, and a real understanding of love and concern for one another. So I like to call Neighbor to Neighbor, it's not a ministry, it's a community. My ultimate desire, I've been a Christian over 40 years, and my desire in this sort of fourth quarter of life is to develop devoted followers of Christ. And I want people to flourish in every area of life, but ultimately, like it says in the Gospel of John, the Father seeks worshipers. I want to see people become worshipers. And I'm not always sure how to invite them into that or challenge them with that, because sometimes there's a challenge there with that, to think about what people are worshiping and what they're following. And we've built a lot of trust, but how do we build on that trust to really introduce people to Jesus in a real way? We model it. I have no doubt about that we model it. We've earned people's trust. We exemplify something. We're able to talk about our personal faith. We're able to do that. But to actually engage another person at that deep faith level and the questions they have about faith and the questions they have about Jesus, that's the great challenge for us. And for me personally, that's the biggest challenge I'm facing. And we want to be in sort of the soul healing business. When you think about Jesus in Revelation 21, when there's a new heavens and a new earth, it says that he will wipe away every tear. All sorrow will be done away with. But that's the sort of model of ministry. What pain can I alleviate in this person's life? Food is more than a meal because it's all about the friendship. It's all about the relationships that we have. That is the priority. Sometimes we forget to give out the food because we're there talking and sharing. And sometimes our teams will be at one door stoop for 20 minutes, a half an hour. because they're just talking and sharing. And then it's oh, by the way, we have some eggplant today, and we have some avocados, or we have some bananas, and last week we had plantains. And so it's almost a secondary thing. Now, for some households, there might be a language barrier and food becomes a priority thing. But more than anything, the priority is friendship. The best times for me is when our folks go there without anything. They just go to talk to someone. So it's like, oh, it's real friendship. There are people that meet after hours. I've gone to the movies with people. I've hung out. I've had people into my home. I've been into their homes. That's what we're after. Real relationship. Not sort of a manufactured ministry relationship, but a real friendship.